For over 5 decades, Dravic had served as a xenomedical doctor at the Neutral Clinic on Vos Primus sterile outpost treating creatures from across the galaxy. He had encountered life forms that thrived on radiation, species that metabolized pure iron, beings that survived solely on atmospheric moisture. But never, not once in all his years, had he been so utterly horrified as the day he met a creature from Earth. A human. And more precisely, their so-called harmless breakfast. That day, a human male named Adam walked into his exam room complaining of mild stomach discomfort. Simple case, or so Dravic thought. Until the medical scan results made his limbs freeze in terror. "You consumed, what?" Adam smiled casually. "A bacon and eggs sandwich. Classic breakfast." But to Dravic, it was nothing short of a biochemical disaster. Coagulated ovum, seared flesh, dairy secretions, all deep-fried in animal fat. "You eat this every morning?" Adam shrugged, nonchalant. "Sometimes pancakes. Or a breakfast burrito. Or chocolate." And then the moment that shattered everything Dravic believed in unfolded. He took the sandwich, examined it, bit into it. The taste exploded in his mouth, salty, rich, smoky, layered in impossible ways. His body did not reject it. He felt fine. "This should be toxic," he whispered. "It should not be edible." And yet, he looked at Adam, eyes wide with cosmic disbelief. "Your species should not exist." Adam grinned. "And yet, here we are. Inside the pristine halls of Vos Prime Medical and Interstellar Clinic, known for healing every known life form across the quadrant. Silence hummed softly beneath a sterile hum of biofilters and ambient starfield lighting. The walls gleamed like cold silver, unmarred by time, as if they had never known chaos. Floating diagnostic orbs hovered with eerie precision, waiting patiently like spectral observers. In one of the examination chambers, Dravic stood tall. His obsidian eyes flickered with curiosity, and his 6 tendrils adjusted the hovering med scanner above the patient, a human male named Adam. The human sat with a casual grin on his face, legs swinging slightly, completely unaware of the biological storm he was about to unleash. "You say your discomfort began this morning?" Dravic asked, his tone calm, precise, like a scalpel ready to dissect truth. "Yeah," Adam replied with a lopsided smile. "Kinda just felt off. Probably something I ate." Dravic offered a slow nod. "We shall see. Please remain still." With a gesture, the scanner hummed to life. A 3-dimensional projection of Adam's internal systems flickered into view, arteries glowing faint blue, digestive tract mapped in layered transparencies, each organ pulsing in slow, steady rhythms. Then something changed. Dravic narrowed his gaze. Elevated lipid concentrations, mild acidity, what is? His tendrils stiffened. Muscles tensed. The soft hum of the clinic now felt like a warning. The alien leaned closer to the display, his voice cracking ever so slightly. "You consumed, what?" Adam scratched his neck, brows raised innocently. Breakfast." "Why?" Dravic's hand moved sharply, pointing at the hologram now pulsing red in several locations. "Fermented dairy secretion, coagulated avian ovum, scorched flesh of a mammalian creature, deep fried." The words hung in the sterile air like a curse spoken too loud. "Oh, that," Adam chuckled. "Bacon and eggs sandwich. Classic." There was a long silence. Dravic recoiled. "You willingly ingested burned animal tissue, covered in congealed lipids." Adam gave a shrug. "I mean, yeah. It's tasty." The alien stepped back instinctively, as if the mere idea was toxic. His tendrils twitched like nervous snakes. This wasn't just strange. This was biological heresy. This should be catastrophic. Your organs should be rebelling. Your arteries, your cells should be collapsing under metabolic rebellion. But the scan showed no signs of distress. No inflammation. No blockage. No chemical alarm bells. Everything was stable. In fact, optimal. Adam grinned. Nah. I'm good. Had my cholesterol checked last month. Totally fine. Dravic stared at the data. His mind spun through 100 medical models. None of them explained this. None of them could even approximate this. Impossible, he whispered. Adam leaned forward, casually. Want me to make you one? The question landed like a meteor. Dravic froze. Absolutely not. The walk to the station's communal kitchen felt longer than usual. Dravic moved with measured caution, as if he were walking into a sacred chamber of forbidden knowledge. The lights dimmed subtly along the corridor, and somewhere in the ventilation system, a metallic groan echoed like a distant warning. Adam whistled a tune. Carefree. Oblivious to the existential terror trailing just behind him. The kitchen itself was a marvel of engineering, sleek, modular, and meticulously clean. Designed to serve over 70 species, it featured nutrient synthesizers, sterilizing prep units, and temperature-controlled drawers that could keep plasma meat from the Delver system fresh for years. It was not, Dravic noted grimly, intended for what was about to happen. Adam opened a refrigeration unit and casually began gathering ingredients. To Dravic's horror, the first item was raw animal flesh, thin, marbled strips sealed in transparent plastic. He recognized it instantly. Pork, Adam said with a wink. A real classic. Dravic's tendrils curled in protest. The sight of uncooked muscle tissue, uncured, unneutralized, untouched by antiseptic mist, was enough to make his internal temperature spike by 2 degrees. Are you planning to consume that in its current form? Nah, Adam said, already moving with practiced efficiency. We're gonna cook it. Cook it? The term didn't sit well. As Adam peeled open the package and dropped the strips into a heated metal pan, an ominous sizzle filled the air. The sound was aggressive. Elemental. It reminded Dravic of volcanic vents on Caltris, for molten gas roaring from beneath the crust, angry and alive. You are actively scorching organic matter, Dravic muttered, watching the flesh bubble and brown under the heat. Adam smiled. That's called flavor development. Browning breaks down proteins, releases fat, caramelizes sugars. A thin stream of translucent liquid hot fat began to pool in a reservoir attached to the pan. It hissed like acid. Dravic leaned back, disturbed. That's lipid runoff. Rendered fat, Adam corrected. You can save it for later. Great for frying potatoes. The alien doctor reeled. You reuse extracted lipids? That is not their function. Adam simply laughed, then turned to another object, a small, oval-shaped shell, smooth, beige, and fragile. Before Dravic could speak, Adam cracked it against a bowl. A strange, yellow and clear fluid oozed out. Dravic flinched. That was a reproductive cell? Yep. An egg. Within seconds, the fluid began to change, coagulating, solidifying under heat, turning into something new. The transformation is unnatural, Dravic whispered. It resists classification. Protein denaturation, Adam said, flipping the egg with a flick of his wrist. Heat reshapes the structure. Makes it edible. Edible. Dravic stood frozen, watching this human calmly apply fire to one biological component after another, manipulating flesh, cells, and secretions with nonchalance. Then came the final horror. Adam pulled a pale, dense block from the cold drawer, and began shaving thin slices onto the sizzling surface. "What is that?" "Cheese," Adam said, as the shavings melted instantly, turning into golden pools atop the egg. Dravic's skin flushed pale. "That is, the fermented secretion of a lactating mammal." "You bet. Makes it creamy." The alien stared in silence, overwhelmed. And then, with a light clack, Adam brought 2 slices of toasted bread from the prep unit. He stacked the components carefully, pressing them into a warm, symmetrical creation. "Done," Adam declared proudly, holding it up like a trophy. The bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. To Dravic, it resembled a biochemical anomaly more than a meal. The layers of scorched tissue, solidified ovum, melted fat, and fermented fluid all compressed between 2 baked carbohydrate slabs. It was a miracle. A nightmare. A culinary paradox. Adam held it out, smiling. "Wanna try?" Dravic did not move. "That was not part of the arrangement," he said, voice low, almost reverent. Adam shrugged. "You said you wanted to understand." Dravic looked at the sandwich, then back at the human. The silence hung thick, broken only by the slow crackle of cooling bacon fat. What kind of species thrived on this? The sandwich hovered before him like an artifact from a forbidden dimension, warm, golden, quietly sizzling between the fingers of a grinning human. Dravic did not reach for it. He had dissected silicon-blooded creatures, performed surgeries in zero gravity, and survived a parasitic outbreak on Cygnus 4. But this construct of scorched animal muscle, melted fat, and processed starch, this terrified him. Adam, ever casual, leaned his elbow on the prep table. "You said you wanted to understand," he said. "Understanding means experience." Dravic stared at the sandwich. Its surface glistened with layers of complex textures, crispy bacon curled into dark edges, the egg's surface marbled with golden and white folds, the cheese having melted into all available spaces like a colonizing organism. It was visually chaotic, structurally unsound, nutritionally absurd. And yet somehow it looked complete. Slowly, almost ritualistically, Dravic extended 2 tendrils. He took the sandwich with delicate care, like handling unstable matter. He lifted it. The scent hit first. Salt. Smoke. Earth. A strange richness that coiled into the back of his mind like a memory he never lived. He took a bite. Everything stopped. Time, breath, thought collapsed into sensation. The initial crunch of the bread gave way to an oozing burst of fat and protein. The bacon was sharp and smoky, the egg soft and strangely comforting. The melted cheese bridged the flavors together like glue from another dimension. It shouldn't have worked. But it did. He chewed slowly, his brain trying and failing to categorize what he was experiencing. This wasn't nutrition. This was something else. Adam watched with folded arms, smiling just slightly, like someone who had seen this moment before. Dravic swallowed. And nothing happened. No vomiting. No internal bleeding. No biochemical alerts. His digestive system accepted the chaos, like it had done it before. Dravic blinked. "My systems remain stable." "Of course they do," Adam said. "This flavor profile, it's irrational. Violent. Yet, harmonious." Adam chuckled. "Now you get it." Dravic took another bite. A larger one. The taste changed subtly. A bit more crunch. A burst of yolk. Cheese stretching slightly before snapping. Every bite was different yet somehow deliberate. He felt warmth spreading through his torso. Not temperature, something else. A kind of peace. A primitive joy. This should not be palatable, Dravic murmured. But it is. It is deeply palatable. Adam sat down across from him, elbows on the table. You ever wonder why we survive everything the galaxy throws at us? Dravic looked at him, still chewing. Because we don't just eat to live, Adam said. We eat to feel. To remember. To connect. That sandwich? That's Sunday mornings. That's family. That's hangovers and heartbreak and long road trips at dawn. Dravic sat back, stunned. The implications spiraled. Humans encoded meaning into their food. Emotion. Memory. Ritual. This is not cuisine, Dravic whispered. This is cultural biochemistry. Adam grinned. Told ya. We don't just make food. We make feelings you can chew. Dravic slowly set the sandwich down. He looked at his own fingers. Then at Adam. Then at the scanner on the wall still glowing quietly with perfect vitals. I will require extensive reanalysis of all nutritional paradigms. Adam nodded. You're gonna need a whole new chapter, document. Pause. Dravic tilted his head slightly. Does it come in other variations? Adam's grin widened. Oh, you have no idea. The sandwich was gone. Only crumbs remained on the sterile countertop, soft, greasy flecks of what had once been a moment of madness and revelation. Dravic sat motionless, his mind still swirling through equations, evolutionary models, and biochemical impossibilities. Every principle he'd held about nutrition, metabolism, and species survival had begun to fray. And Adam? Adam was rummaging through a cabinet like none of this was unusual. All right, the human said, voice casual. You've conquered breakfast. Time for dessert. Dravic looked up slowly. Dessert? Adam turned, holding something small and dark in his hand, a rectangular bar, wrapped in matte foil. He peeled it open with a dramatic flourish, revealing a deep brown slab with geometric ridges. Its surface shimmered slightly in the overhead light. This, Adam said, is chocolate. Dravic narrowed his eyes. It appears to be a compressed lipid and sugar compound. Adam broke off a square and popped it into his mouth. His expression softened instantly, eyelids lowering just slightly, a small hum escaping his throat. He held another piece toward Dravic. The alien hesitated. The scent was subtle but complex, earthy, sweet, bitter all at once. It didn't smell like food. It smelled like a story, half remembered. Tentatively, Dravic took the piece. It was light, smooth, and began to melt the moment it touched the warmth of his fingertips. He placed it on his tongue. And then, silence. Inside his mind, something shifted. The taste was layered, like notes in an alien symphony. First came the bitterness, rich and grounding. Then the sweetness, soft but insistent. Then, something else. A warmth. A lift. His thoughts began to feel sharper, like the edges had been polished by some invisible tool. He blinked. The ambient light seemed just a touch brighter. This contains psychoactive compounds, he said, voice low. My neurochemical balance has altered. Yep, Adam said. Theobromine. Caffeine. All mild stuff. Makes you feel good. Dravic sat back slowly. You recreationally consume neurostimulants, for pleasure? All the time, Adam replied. Chocolate, coffee, tea, even some chewing roots in the jungle cultures. Dravic stared at the half-melted piece in his palm. You alter your own brain chemistry, through taste. Adam laughed softly. Why not? Food isn't just fuel, Doc. It's chemistry you enjoy. Dravic shook his head, but not in disbelief anymore. In awe. Your species does not simply survive. You engineer experiences into your consumption. You modify your perception, willingly. Adam leaned back, arms crossed behind his head. Exactly. You know why chocolate is special to us? It's in weddings, gifts, apologies, first dates, breakups. We don't just eat it, we share it when words fail. Dravic's eyes widened slightly. He looked again at the square of chocolate, now beginning to soften into a glossy sheen. This is emotion. Made edible. Adam smiled. Bingo. Long pause. Dravic placed the rest into his mouth, allowing it to melt slowly, accepting not just the flavor, but the meaning. Something about it felt ancient. As if humans had discovered not just how to nourish the body, but how to touch the soul. He swallowed. And whispered, I must update multiple neurophysiological textbooks. Adam grinned. Better start a whole new section, culinary psychology? Dravic gave a low, rumbling hum, his species' version of a sigh. Your civilization is built on edible paradox. And you've only just scratched the surface, Adam said, reaching for a sealed pouch nearby. Wanna see what sugar and dehydration can do to grapes? Dravic's eyes narrowed. You alter fruit. Oh yeah, Adam said with a grin. We shrink it. Adam held up a small, crinkled object between his fingers. Brownish. Wrinkled. No larger than a fingernail. Dravic leaned forward cautiously. What is that? A raisin, Adam said. Used to be a grape. The alien's eyes narrowed. Used to be. Adam tossed one into his mouth and nodded appreciatively. We dry them in the sun. Or use heat. Basically, we remove all the water. Dravic took the small object, turning it over between two fingers. It was strangely light. Its texture resembled mummified tissue. Its scent faint, sweet, but concentrated was oddly unnerving. You intentionally dehydrate fruit to, what? Preserve it. And make it sweeter, Adam said. Shrink the juice, concentrate the sugar. Turns into a pocket-sized candy. Dravic's skin flushed a pale green. You convert perishables into hyperdense sugar packs. Pretty much. He hesitated, then ate it. It was not like fruit. It was fruit's memory. A compressed echo. Sweet beyond reason, with a tang that lingered long after it should have faded. This tastes weaponized. Adam grinned. Wait till you try popcorn. Before Dravic could protest, the human reached into a nearby cabinet and pulled out a sealed pouch. He tore it open, revealing irregular golden clusters, slightly shiny, oddly shaped. He offered one. Dravic took it with visible suspicion. What is this? Corn, Adam said. But exploded. Dravic froze. You detonated a seed. Yeah. Heated it until it popped. Traps moisture inside, pressure builds, and he made a soft explosion sound with his mouth. Boom. You eat detonation remnants. Adam shrugged. Makes a satisfying crunch. Dravic slowly placed the puffed kernel into his mouth. It cracked loudly between his teeth, light, yet full. A delicate structure collapsing with sound, releasing salt and a strange buttery taste that lingered like smoke. He chewed in silence. This is aerated starch fused with fat. Exactly, Adam said. We don't just eat food, we transform it. Texture, taste, temperature. It's all part of the experience. Dravic stood up, pacing slowly now, eyes wide as if the kitchen walls were closing in. You dehydrate. You ferment. You fry. You explode. Adam nodded along. We brine, smoke, pickle, emulsify, glaze. Dravic turned, exasperated. You engineer food like a weapon. Adam laughed. It's not a weapon. It's a love language. That stopped the alien cold. He turned slowly. Explain. Adam leaned casually on the countertop, holding a handful of popcorn. When we share food, we're not just sharing nutrients. We're sharing time. Comfort. Memory. Culture. You might see chemicals. We see connection. Dravic stared at the half-eaten raisin in his palm like it had betrayed the universe. You do not eat to survive, he whispered. You eat to feel. Adam smiled. Now you're starting to understand. The room fell silent again. Only the faint hum of the kitchen systems broke the stillness. Dravic sat down heavily, his tendrils curled inwards, his posture one of quiet existential crisis. You have turned survival into ritual, into celebration, into something. He searched for the word. Spiritual. Adam slid a small bowl of caramel popcorn toward him. You hungry for enlightenment? Dravic didn't answer. But he took another bite. The air in the kitchen was still heavy with the scent of popcorn and burnt sugars. Dravic sat like a statue, his tendrils slightly curled, his mind spiraling. The laws of nutrition, the foundations of biology, none of it had prepared him for what humans called snacks. And yet, the human wasn't done. Adam walked to the refrigerator again, humming softly. He pulled out a small glass jar filled with cloudy liquid and irregular, floating organic shapes. He placed it gently on the table between them. Inside the jar, thin strands of cabbage twisted and swam like pickled ghosts. The liquid was thick, tinged orange, with floating bits that moved just slightly as the jar settled. Dravic didn't need to scan it. He already knew. That jar is infected, he said slowly. Adam smiled, unfazed. It's fermented. Dravic recoiled a few centimeters. You allow microbial colonies to proliferate in your food. Yep, Adam said proudly. This one's called kimchi. Fermented cabbage with garlic, salt, and chili. Dravic's voice dropped to a whisper. You ingest live bacterial cultures voluntarily. They are probiotics, Adam replied, popping the lid. Good for digestion. As the seal broke, a scent filled the room. It was pungent. Sharp. Like acid and sulfur had gotten married and decided to ferment their wedding vows. Dravic's sensory receptors flared in protest. This smell is hostile, he hissed. Adam took a bite with visible pleasure, chewing calmly as if he were immune to reason. You enjoy this? Absolutely. Dravic leaned closer to the jar, staring into the brine like it was a forbidden portal. This is decomposition. This is microbial decay. This, Adam corrected, is controlled transformation. Microbes break down the sugars, release acids, and make it taste amazing. Dravic blinked. So you enlist microorganisms to pre-digest your food. Exactly. Been doing it for thousands of years. Yogurt, beer, sourdough bread, wine, soy sauce fermentation is everywhere. Dravic didn't move. His voice dropped lower, like a priest entering sacred blasphemy. You turn rot into ritual. Adam held out a forkful. Wanna try? There was a long pause. Dravic stared at the floating cabbage softened by time, soaked in acid, teeming with life. Then, slowly, he took it. The moment it touched his tongue, a storm broke open. A jolt of spice, feral and fiery. Then vinegar. Then something earthy, deep, ancient. He chewed slowly. The flavors layered in strange rhythm, sharp, sour, alive. He swallowed. And sat back. His internal systems did not collapse. By all models of xenobiology, he murmured, this should result in systemic rejection. But it doesn't, Adam said. Dravic's voice trembled with quiet reverence. This should not be palatable. Yet, it is vibrantly alive. Adam grinned. That's fermentation. Dravic's mind reeled. Your species has found a way to turn decay into preservation. Danger into depth. You weaponize microbes to extend flavor, extend time. And gut health, Adam added. The alien nodded slowly. You domesticated bacteria. Long before we domesticated animals, Adam said. We partnered with the invisible world first. Dravic exhaled his version of a spiritual sigh. You do not eat food. You commune with it. Adam raised his eyebrows. That might be the nicest thing anyone said about kimchi. The medbay doors hissed open. Dravic stepped inside, his gaze sweeping across a room he had walked through thousands of times. Sterile. Ordered. Lined with tools of healing scanners, cryo-injectors, synth tissue vats. Technology built from centuries of interstellar knowledge. This was where logic reigned. But today, logic would be broken again. Adam strolled in behind him, holding a small, rectangular box, nothing special, just cardboard and plastic. He opened it casually and pulled out something long, thin, and beige with a soft pad in the center. What is that? Dravic asked, tone tight with suspicion. A bandage, Adam replied. For cuts and stuff. Dravic tilted his head. That is fabric. It's sterile, Adam said. You clean the wound, stick this on, and let your body handle the rest. The alien blinked. You do not regenerate your dermal layers instantly. Nope. Takes a few days. This just keeps out bacteria. Dravic narrowed his eyes. You cover wounds with adhesive cloth, and wait. Adam nodded. Yeah. Most of the healing happens on its own. The concept was so primitive, so vulnerable, it sent a chill through Dravic's core. And you survive this. All the time, Adam said cheerfully. Paper cuts. Knife slips. We patch, we move on. Then, Adam picked up a small bottle. Its cap twisted off with a soft pop, releasing a faint medicinal scent. Alcohol, chemicals, something ancient and sharp. This, he said, is antiseptic. Kills bacteria before we bandage. He tilted the bottle, letting a single drop fall onto the back of his hand. Dravic watched it bead and evaporate. You pour chemicals into open wounds. Adam shrugged. Stings a bit, but it works. Dravic stared. You treat injuries with stinging liquids and sticky cloth. This is barbaric. It's practical, Adam said. We're not made of nanogel like some species. We improvise. The alien walked slowly to one of the med stations and placed a hand against the scanner pad, as if grounding himself. You heal, by tolerating pain. By waiting. By enduring. Exactly, Adam said, pulling a roll of thin thread from the drawer. And for deeper wounds, he added, we use stitches. Dravic turned. You sew yourself shut. With a needle, Adam confirmed. Keeps the wound closed while the body repairs. Dravic's voice dropped to a whisper. This is not medicine. This is ritualized suffering. Adam smirked. We're built for damage. Just not built to quit. The silence in the room was thick. Dravic's tendrils were still. He had expected advanced biononites. Automated skin fusion. Instant cell regeneration. Instead, he found thread and alcohol. Primitive. Brutal. And yet, it worked. It had worked for millennia. He looked at the human smiling, casual, unarmored. And yet, somehow, still whole. You are not the most advanced species, Dravic said slowly. You are not the strongest. Nor the fastest. But you heal, he whispered. Through fire. Through time. Through sheer will. Adam placed the bandage back in the box. We're not unbreakable, he said. We just get up more than we fall. Dravic looked around the medbay at the cabinets full of cloth, the bottles of sting, the needles, the tape. And then he nodded. You endure by turning pain into process. Adam clapped him lightly on the back. And process into progress. The kitchen was empty now. The lights hummed softly overhead. Somewhere, in the walls, a coolant line pulsed like a heartbeat, steady, indifferent. Dravic sat at the center table. Alone. Before him sat the remains of his journey. A half-eaten bacon sandwich. A smudged square of chocolate. A jar of fermented vegetables. A single bandage in its wrapper, unopened. And a folded napkin, crusted with powdered cheese from something called Cheetos. His fingers normally still, precise, tapped slowly against the metal surface. A rhythm with no meaning. A code not even he understood. The data pad beside him flickered silently, projecting graphs and vitals. The scan results had remained unchanged through every test, every bite of madness. No stress on the liver. No cardiac response. No signs of toxin buildup. If anything, his systems had stabilized. He whispered to no one. I have consumed fried flesh. Fungal candy. Fermented microbes. Psychoactive oils. And starch that explodes under pressure. A long pause. And I am fine. His gaze drifted upward, to nothing in particular. Worse, he added softly. I enjoyed it. His mind reeled through centuries of training. Proteins must be clean. Sugars must be regulated. Bacteria must be neutralized. And humans? Humans dipped raw fruit into boiling sugar, fed bread to colonies of fungus, and celebrated mold that aged in caves. They stitched their flesh like cloth, burned their tongues for caffeine, and made edible sculptures from substances no other life form would dare to touch. They survived not in spite of this chaos, but because of it. Dravic leaned back in his seat, eyes wide. All this time, I thought they were reckless. Primitive. Unguided. He looked around slowly, at the silence, at the still glowing remnants of flavor and scent. But they are not disorganized, he murmured. They are strategic anomalies. His fingers curled inward, his species' version of a shiver. They defy biology, with ritual, with memory, with pleasure. He picked up the square of chocolate and turned it slowly in the light. They do not eat to survive. They survive because they turn survival into art. A soft sound broke the stillness. Footsteps. Adam entered, carrying 2 mugs of something hot and dark, steam curling lazily from the top. "Thought you might need this," he said, placing one in front of Dravic. "Coffee." Dravic looked down at the mug. "This is also psychoactive." "Oh yeah," Adam said. "Mild mostly. Gets the thoughts flowing." Dravic stared into the swirling surface. "They are already flowing." He took a sip. Bitterness. Heat. And something else. Something that lingered behind the tongue like the echo of thunder. Another sip. His shoulders dropped just slightly. Then, softly, "I am experiencing what you might call an existential crisis." Adam grinned. "Yeah. We have those all the time. Usually around the second cup." The kitchen felt different now. Not quieter. Not darker. Just deeper. As if every object had weight. History. Meaning. The table bore the evidence of a transformation, sauces smeared like brush strokes, crumbs like fallen relics, and a lone jar of kimchi breathing softly through its open lid. Dravic sat with his hands folded, coffee cooling slowly in a mug beside him. He had crossed a threshold and there was no going back. Adam was at the counter again, moving with deliberate ease. His hands flowed from drawer to skillet, from shelf to cutting board. There was no hesitation. No formulas. Just rhythm. He wasn't cooking. He was composing. "What is this one called?" Dravic asked, voice low. Adam smiled without turning. "Grilled kimchi cheese melt." Dravic tilted his head. "A fusion dish." "Yeah," Adam said. "East meets west. Fermentation meets dairy. Fire meets whatever it is that makes this sandwich sing." He placed the final creation onto a plate and slid it forward. It was golden, slightly crisp on the outside, with melted cheese oozing gently from the edges. The scent was like nothing Dravic had encountered: spicy, sour, creamy, toasted. Ancient and new. Ritual and rebellion. He picked it up. It was warm. Soft on the edges. The surface slightly blistered from the grill. He took a bite. And the universe folded. Not literally. But something inside him, something rigid, clinical, and old, broke open like a seed under pressure. The flavors crashed into each other like waves from different oceans. Heat from the kimchi. Fat from the cheese. Crunch from the bread. A fermented tang that sang of history. A softness that whispered comfort. He chewed slowly. He didn't speak. He simply felt. Adam watched quietly, letting the silence honor the moment. Dravic swallowed. Then placed the sandwich down. His hands trembled slightly. "This," he said, voice barely audible, "should not work. None of it should. The biological profile alone is a contradiction." He looked up. "And yet, it is harmony?" Adam nodded. "Told you." Dravic sat back. His entire being buzzed, not from danger, not from sickness, but from a deep, cellular awareness that he had just experienced something profound. "You defy metabolic logic," he whispered. "You manipulate flavor like a sculptor. You tame rot, fuse opposites, eat what others discard, and turn it into identity." Adam gave a small smile. We don't just eat, Doc. We remember. We celebrate. We adapt. Dravic stared at the half-eaten sandwich as if it were a sacred artifact. You have taken decay, and made it sacred. You could say that, Adam said. Or you could just say, humans are weird, but somehow it works. The alien looked at him for a long moment. No, Dravic said. You are not just weird. You are resilient by design. He paused. Your kind should not exist, and yet, you do. He stood. I must rewrite entire chapters of nutritional science. Of healing. Of xenocultural adaptation. Adam sipped his coffee. Just don't forget to add the recipes. Dravic sighed. I refuse to dignify that with a response. Adam grinned. Too late. You already ate the evidence. Dravic stood in the corridor just beyond the kitchen. Behind him, the scent of grilled bread and fermented spice still lingered like incense after a ritual. He held a daytop hat in one hand, its screen aglow with lines of text notes, equations, observations. But for the first time in his life, the data felt incomplete. He tapped the screen softly, recording his voice. Subject, Homo sapiens. Designation, human. Summary, impossible. He paused, then looked ahead through the wide station window, out into the quiet sea of stars. They possessed no natural armor. No venom. No redundant organs. Their biology is unremarkable, yet disturbingly efficient. His gaze drifted lower, back to the table where Adam sat, casually sipping his second cup of coffee, staring at nothing in particular. They consume toxins with joy. Befriend bacteria. Burn meat for pleasure. Freeze sugar for comfort. They live on contradiction, and somehow, thrive within it. He took a breath not out of necessity, but out of need to slow the moment. To feel it. Their strength is not in muscle or mind. It is in defiance. They defy the cold with fire. Defy time with flavor. Defy decay with celebration. They engineer survival through culture. And in doing so, they become more than species. They become story. Behind him, Adam raised a mug slightly, as if in silent toast. Dravic turned and walked back into the room. He sat down slowly, his movements no longer stiff with confusion, but grounded in respect. I believe, Dravic said, that your food is not just nourishment. Adam looked up, curious. Oh yeah? Dravic nodded. It is history, compressed into bite-sized ritual. It is memory, coated in salt and flame. It is resilience, disguised as indulgence. He set the daytop hat aside. And if I am honest, he added, more softly now, I may request a recipe? Adam laughed. A real, full laugh, light and human and impossibly warm. Of course you will. That's step one. Step one of what? Dravic asked. Adam grinned. Becoming human. In the sterile halls of Voss Prime, one alien doctor came face to face with the most confounding force in the galaxy, not a virus, not a parasite, not even a war. But a human breakfast sandwich. Dravic had studied the extremes of biology, creatures that fed on metal, beings who drank clouds, but nothing could have prepared him for humanity's strange, chaotic relationship with food. What began as revulsion soon became fascination. From deep-fried bacon to fermented cabbage, from pancakes to psychoactive chocolate, humans had not just survived, they had turned culinary chaos into a competitive advantage. And the most unsettling part? He had been eating it all along, without even knowing. It was not just survival. It was strategy. It was identity. And Dravic? He was only just beginning to understand what made humanity so terrifyingly resilient. This was only breakfast. Imagine what happens when humans cook for war. Milky Way. If this shocked you, just wait until you witness what happens when humans bring this same madness to medicine or diplomacy. Subscribe to Alien Chronicles, and join us as we uncover the terrifying beauty of Earth's most unpredictable species.